Hello, everyone. In a previous edition of Zack Miller Says, I interviewed Ryan Williams, who is the author of The Influencer Economy. I think it's what it's called, The Influencer Economy. And it was so interesting that what he said, I actually decided to add to my book. And his story is on page 93 and 94. But what's really interesting, so he's the author of The Influencer Economy and the host of the Stories of the Influencer Economy podcast. Ryan Williams is his name. Super cool, super chill guy. I was introduced to him via Mike Province, who I've just known for a while. And I guess Mike had gone to Ryan's, a talk of Ryan's, and Mike was like, oh, these two should meet. They're both rad people. That would be awesome. And I was like, cool. So we met, had him on my show. Actually, I want to get on his show. But the thing that he talked about that was so, in my opinion, brilliant, is this really interesting concept that all too often people are basically creating new content over and over and over again, which is great. However, they're getting in front of a new community, a new following, a new group of people each and every time that hadn't seen that previous content. So Ryan was working for a couple of startups that had been acquired by, I think, like Warner Brothers. I talk about it in the book, Disney and Warner Brothers. And through interviewing a bunch of people, he realized that a lot of these individuals were telling the same story over and over again. And he recognized that this was because they were getting in front of a new group of people every single time. So he says that you need to have three stories in your back pocket, right? He says, and I actually think this is really, really interesting. And like in the book, we go over what the three are. For the purpose of this story, it doesn't matter what those three things are. But I'm going to tell you this. So if you're on a speaking tour, and every time you're going on this speaking tour, you're basically getting in front of the same type of people, but in a different venue every time, don't create a new set of slide decks, a new presentation over and over and over again, because let's say you do one a week for a year. That's 52 new presentations. Imagine if you did one presentation, maybe you changed it a little bit to make more sense to the group that you're talking to. But basically the same content is the same thing over and over again. It's because what you want to be selling to these individuals, what you want to be preaching, what you want them to learn about you could be perfected throughout time. And so I think it's so interesting how this repetition of doing the same thing, doing the same talk, but understanding that that is the constant, the talk is the constant, and the thing that is changing is just that you are speaking at different venues over and over and over and over again, but it's basically the same people. And so instead of creating 52 different presentations, understand that you're just getting in front of 52 new groups of people each time. And so that's how you can perfect your presentations, how you can perfect or continue to sell the story that you want. One other thing that Ryan Williams recognized was that a lot of people tell other people's story poorly. But who tells a story better than themselves, right? And so you want to sell the story that's so important. And so it's really interesting as I begin my speaking tour on Sunday. Basically, I'm going to be going nonstop for the next 18 months. I'm basically going to give a variation of the same talk over and over again. And it's basically Anomaly, How to Finally Stand Out from the Crowd, right? The book is that. Everything else is that. And it's a series of ways that people can stand out. Will it reference the book? Absolutely. But will it be exclusively the book? No. Right? It's just a bunch of stories and a bunch of ways and a bunch of hacks to get people to recognize that they can start acting today. And then when they start telling that their friends, oh, you got to check this out, you have a bunch of people telling that same story. Guess what? That is how you get that virality moment, that viral movement that you and so many people want. Right? But if you keep trying to get people to like a new piece of content every time and you don't have them hooked on that one thing first, you potentially could lose. So I've definitely adopted that mindset since I had that conversation with Ryan, let's say back in February and March, so much so that I basically was done with my first draft of the book and was like, I have to add this part in because it makes so much sense. And it actually, I think, fits in really perfectly to one of the chapters that we did. which was... It's the last part of chapter 2. Repeatable, searchable content. Imagine that. So, if you are on a speaking tour, if you are creating content, if you are one that is building your brand, make sure that the story that you want people to know about you, you are constantly getting that out in front of people so that they can see it early and often. Don't hide it. Let people see what you want them to see. Boom, 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 boom. Because if you have it hidden, if you had it, blocked behind something, and that's the main thing that you want people to see, how are they going to see it? So, think about what you can put in your back pocket. Just keep promoting that one piece of content or that one story over and over, or a handful of stories over and over again. And guess what? By the end of the day, by the end of the year, by the end of the week, whatever duration it is, people will start to recognize, oh, this is probably what this guy wants me to be learning, right? So for me, what is it? I want people to recognize that standing out is a good thing. That standing out, being the anomaly, is something that is a positive one, even though when growing up, we were probably told that we needed to fit in and act like everyone else. I think that is complete and utter BS. And instead, we need to be ourselves. We need to live the lives that we want. And anomalies are good things. And I, of course, am one myself because I've lived my whole life rocking and rolling in that kind of way. So, being the anomaly is good. Selling, showcasing, sharing a very similar story over and over and over again is a great one, because you can perfect that message and others can start to sell and promote the message that you want instead of something else. So, when you're thinking about what do I want people to think about me? What are the stories, the showcases, the content that I want others to know about me? Make sure you're selling that, and make sure you're repeating that over and over and over and over and over and over again. I don't know what that song was, but shout out to that song. So, standing out, it's important, but telling that story over and over and over again is even more important. So don't do it just once, do it twice, do it 2 million times, do it 2 million times infinity, which is whatever, infinity. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Get out, say hello to people, stand out, do things that are different, and you will have a wonderful day. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for always listening. Until next time, Zack Miller, out. Peace.